Now then guys, how you doing? So this rebuild then is a bit last minute as Marcelo Bielsa has been sacked. Now, it divides opinion. Leeds United's form has been shocking. Their ship and goals for fun. And if it was any other manager, they'd have probably lost the job. Now, obviously, Bielsa is a bit of a cult hero with Leeds United at the minute. So, like I say, it divides opinion. Most people would have rather have seen Leeds playing in the Championship, I'm sure, with Bielsa still in charge. However, my job today, with Bielsa now gone, is to keep Leeds United, first of all, in the Premier League, and then take them beyond in the next 5 years, while continuing to play the Leeds United way, which is attacking, entertaining football. So yes, today's episode, a bit of a last minute thing, as I was going to do some others. Obviously, they've been voted for, and if you voted for them in the past, that will still be coming to fruition. But like I say, just want to get a quick rebuild in to see how I would do in charge of Leeds United. So if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe, would mean a lot as the channel continues to grow. And if you are a continued viewer, thank you very much for your continued support. But let's get into rebuilding Leeds United. Right then guys, so here we go, day one. But there is a little bit of a spin on this. I am joining Leeds on the 2nd of January. So we are going into the January transfer window. Half of the season has already been played. And form for Leeds hasn't been much better than in real life, if I'm completely honest, as we find them currently in 13th place. We've won one of our last 5 games, losing the other 4. We've got 25 points on the board. However, it is tight as Watford up there in 7th place are only 5 points clear of us. So there's still an opportunity. There's a little sniff of European football if we plough our cards right. However, special shout out to Newcastle United, who I'm sure have spent loads of money and currently find themselves in 19th place. Not ideal for them. Now, it's all about looking at the finances, and in this transfer window, I've currently got £21 million to spend, but I'm going to let you know now, I'm not spending any money in this transfer window. I'm going to stick with the team that we've got, and I'm going to try and keep them within the league, which it looks like is going to happen. The teams below us are absolutely shocking, to be fair. Overall balance is £52 million. I mean, wage budget is just under 1.2 million. We're well under that anyway. Debt and loan-wise, net debt is £45 million. Transfer debt is £63 million. So there's a lot going on there, but nothing that worries me really. If you can get European football over the next couple of seasons, especially Champions League football, if you've watched any of my other rebuilds, Champions League football gets you out of all kind of financial trouble anyway. So looking at the club vision then for this season, obviously that club culture is to play entertaining, attacking football, which is what we'll do, and to develop players using the club's youth system. The 5-year plan is to increase the commercial revenue, grow the club's reputation, sign young players to develop for a profit, expand the stadium, and to work within the wage budget. The end of this current season is the minimum expectation in the Premier League, at least, is a mid-table finish. The FA Cup reached the 5th round. The Carabao Cup they're not judging. And to develop the best youth system in the country, we will go for that. And we just need to continue being established in the Premier League. That's the 5-year plan. So to spoke about developing young players, let's have a look at our hottest prospects. So Jack Jenkins, 19-year-old midfielder. Decent player, current ability 2-star, potential ability 4-star. And then when we look, who is the best player there? So Lewis Bate, this guy I'm sure was at Chelsea. I've had him in the past, in fairness. And he turns into a really good player. He's actually played 1 game this season, scored 1 goal in that game as well. And we bought him for 1.5 million from Chelsea. So a very good player. Currently in the under-23s. We may see him feature this season. I wouldn't imagine that's the case, as I'm sure we've got some better players in our first team. So transfers wise then, what's already happened? So we've actually spent £53 million from the summer transfer window up until now. We've brought no money back in, no revenue at all being regenerated from player sales. So players in, obviously we'll know all about these players already, but Daniel James, £25 million. Attributes wise, he's absolutely shocking. Yes, he's rapid with acceleration and pace, 18 and 19. But he doesn't really offer a lot else at this level. 24-year-old, you know, he could prove me wrong. But he's only played 7 games this season. No assists and no goals provided in those games neither. So tactically, what am I going to do then? So I've gone for a 4-2-3-1. On a balanced mentality for the time being, we're going to go on a Gengen press. This is the Parma Drama one, the one that I used within my Parma save, which really turned things around for us. And this season is just all about, I'll say, survival. But at 13th place, just before we go back to the tactic, you know, we are currently 5 points clear of the drop. Wolves, Newcastle and Crystal Palace down there. Palace with only 7 points on the board. Look like they're a cert for relegation anyway. But for me, there's teams down there. Southampton, Norwich, even Brentford in 12th place could still be dragged into it. Spurs doing bits as well in 10th place there. Falling apart as per usual. But getting back to this tactic, you know, we've got a quality starting 11 with Meslier in goal. Firpo, Struik, Llorente and Aylan at the back with Click and Phillips in the middle who's injured. James, Bogus. Now this is the area that we're probably going to be a bit lighter on, as Matthias Bogus, 20-year-old Polish under-21 international, decent. This guy was meant to be the next big thing in FM21. It hasn't really materialised for him. However, a 20-year-old, he could still develop nicely. Then we've got Rafinha, obviously, he needs no introduction out on the right-hand side with Bamford up front. We've also got Rodrigo, who can play up there as well, should we want to. So we've got a decent starting 11. The position behind the striker, though, maybe drop that player down to there, who knows, and then obviously go with an anchor. But I think for the time being, we need to create, we need to score goals, and we need to be winning games. So squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is good, and my geo support is average. Top influences, anybody opposers? No, I've only got one player that supports us though, and that's Stuart Dallas. 21 players have no real opinion of us. My team leaders, Dallas, Cooper and Phillips. Cooper is the club captain this season. 30-year-old Scotsman with 13 caps, no goals. Centre-back, we have got some decent options in this squad. Highest transfer value player is Rafinha, valued up to £79 million. Who's getting paid the most money? Rodrigo, 100k per week, 25k more than Patrick Bamford, valued £35 million. Now Rodrigo, I remember this guy being on loan at Bolton Wanderers where he was absolutely shambolic down in 2010. First time I'd heard of him, and he hasn't really offered a lot to Leeds United, if I'm honest. 26 games last season, 7 goals, 16 and 4 this season, £26.5 million. I'd expect better from him. You know, his best season ever for Valencia in 2018, 16 goals. Isn't really from a goal scorer. So for me, we may end up seeing him being played deeper behind the striker, probably in that central position, if I'm honest. And then finally then, competitions wise for this season, so we've seen how we've performed in the league. We've still got the FA Cup. We'll be joining that shortly on the 9th of January where we take on Gillingham in the 3rd round. And then in the Carabao Cup, we were knocked out in the 4th round by Arsenal. We were beaten 2-0 there. So that is one cup competition we're out of. So yes, guys, that is the introduction to the squad. We're not going to come back for the transfer window, so I'm not going to do any business, like I say. We're just going to save the money, and we're going to move forward to the end of season 1, where hopefully we've survived in the Premier League, which that should be the minimum requirement anyway. And you never know, we may have snuck into that Europa Conference League place. Right then guys, so the end of season 1, and as you can see here, we have managed to achieve an 8th place finish. We ended up finishing 6 points behind West Ham, who got that Europa Conference League place. Our form towards the back end of the season wasn't too bad. 2 defeats, 2 wins and a draw towards the end. But Crystal Palace, Southampton and Wolves all going down. Newcastle and Burnley beating the drop there. Burnley beating the drop by 1 point. Their form in the last 5 games as well. 3 defeats and 2 draws. But Palace only getting 13 points all season. So looking at the past positions then, we've had a mighty rise here. Ending up in 8th place. Not bad going at all. I'm assuming Liverpool were more or less sat in top spot all the way through. Manchester City in there as well. So those top 2 teams really mixing it up. What about competitions wise then? So like I say, 8th place finish in the league. We're already out of the Carabao Cup. We were knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup 4-0 by Chelsea. As we were well and truly done here as well. We had 11 shots, 5 on target. They had 20 and 8. Meslier with a 6.1 rating. Lukaku with a hat-trick. Goals on 3. First half stoppages and 49. Then Pulisic on 72. But we did achieve our mission of surviving in the league. Naturally, you know, only being 6 points out of the European places. That makes me feel a lot better about our chances next season anyway. So looking at the finances wise, what are they giving me to work with? So £67 million to spend in this upcoming transfer budget. Look at that. We've now got £103 million in the overall balance. We're getting 100% of transfer revenue as well. So any player sales I make will be getting generated back into the transfer funds. Wage budget wise is still the same. £1.2 million per week. Debt and loans wise then, no net debt. Transfer debt is £56 million. But again, what a war chest that is. So how are the players feeling about me being here now? So team cohesion and club atmosphere are very good. My geo support's decent. Liam Cooper wants to move on for a new challenge and he may go. I've now got 2 players to support us. 20 players have no real opinion of us. But Dallas has stopped supporting us. Calvin Phillips is now on side. And then when we look at the player stats then, so Patrick Bamford scored 11 goals this season and he was our top goal scorer. That is a problem. Highest average rating was Stroke with a 7.21. Most assists, Rafinha with 9 assists. Best pass completion was Llorente with 97%. Most player of the match awards was my goalkeeper Meslier with 6. Most yellow cards was Click with 8. And most red cards was Ayling, Llorente and Harrison with 1 apiece. And then when we look at the team stats, so team stats wise then, we scored 46, which was the 9th worst. Goals conceded, 46, which is the 7th best. Yellow cards wise, 52, which is the 9th best. Red cards wise, 2, which is the 6th worst. And we had the 10th average attendance at 33,000. So there we go then, guys. The first season down. Not too much to talk about, apart from what we're going to do squad depth wise. So we do need to strengthen, obviously, behind the striker. Up front as well, Rodrigo is apparently the best striker at the club. he hasn't really offered too much. Let's have a look at him. So what did he end up doing this season? 8 goals in 29 appearances this season. Rafinha's obviously the best players out in those both wide areas. Stuart Dallas in there as well. 3.5 star player. In the midfield, Calvin Phillips, Dallas, Click. I've got plenty of options in the midfield, unless I can find someone that's really going to take us to that next level. When we look at ourselves at the back then, so as a left back, Dallas, best player, left and right again. Dallas looks like a real talent at 31-year-old. Let's keep him with us. Centre backs options then is struck with Cooper, Llorente, Koch and Erling in there as well. And then in goal, Meslier, obviously undisputed number 1 as it stands. And Meslier could be the goalkeeper for the majority of this save, if not all of it. I have used him in the past, but when I have brought him in, he's usually come in as a deputy, but he's currently first choice goalkeeper. Have I got any players that are about to leave us? So let's have a look. Just Lawrence de Bock, he's going to go on a free transfer, 29-year-old. How much did we bring him in for? 1.5 million back in 2017. So yes, he's going to be leaving us. But we have got some big decisions to make over this summer. I've got a lot of money to spend, and there's an opportunity for me to sell some players on as well. So first part of the mission has been accomplished. We did survive. I don't think that was ever in doubt. But now we've got to push on for Europe in Season 2. Right then guys, so here we go, my first transfer window at the club, and we come back on the 11th of August. We have played one game, as I wanted to get a couple of transfers over the line, but first of all we need to talk about the finances. So financially, I've spent everything I possibly could. The overall balance has took one hell of a battering, and we're down to £25 million. This may be the biggest blowout that I have throughout the entirety of this save, but I've got to go for it now, as we really need to push on for Europe. So as it stands then, wage budget wise, we've got just under £1.3 million. We're spending about 60k under that. Debt and loans wise, you know, nothing really changes. It's not catastrophic, and at the minute, that's all that matters. So transfers wise, players leaving, and Liam Cooper has gone off to West Ham. Now West Ham have taken quite a few of our players in this summer. They took him on for 6.5 million. He played 28 games for us last season. Good players, a left back and a central defender. But yes, 30-year-old Liam Cooper has gone. Kiko Casilla, also going off to West Ham, was out on loan last season and we let him go for £1 million. Helder Costa, another player that was out on loan last season. He was out on loan at Valencia where he played 11 times, 1 goal, 1 assist there. We let him go for £5 million to Sassuolo after we bought him for £16 million. And the last big transfer to go again was to West Ham, as it looks like they're having to rebuild themselves, and they took Rodrigo off us for £15 million after we spent £26.5 million on him. Like I say, he's not been prolific for us, and yes, while we haven't been in the best form, we do need an out-and-out goal scorer, and he's not the man. But I say that, he's played 1 game for West Ham and he scored 2 goals, so watch him get 30 goals this season. So coming in then, the first player through the door was Sven Botman. Now we brought him in from Lille for £29 million. He played 29 games last season, a 7.16 rating. Has played 1 time for us so far, played 1 game in the league where we won 1-0 against Watford and he scored that goal. An 8.3 rating for him on his debut. Real quality player, heading 16, marking 16, tackling 17, strength 14, at jump and reach 16 as well. 6'4", can play at left back if I wanted to, can also play just in front of the defence, but that's not what we're doing. He's currently valued at £61 million. I then brought in Georgi Diarcieta, and we brought him in from Flamenco for £16.5 million. He played 8 times last season in the Brazilian league, and I wanted someone that could play behind the striker. Now that long shots of 12 isn't necessarily what I wanted, but the rest of it, that dribbling, first touch, technique, vision, flair, anticipation, agility, all in the right areas. He's 28-year-old, so he's on the older side. However, he's got 2 free seasons with us. He's playing to his full potential, which is 3.5 star, and he's valued at £31 million. And then I've spent almost £50 million on a 22-year-old Italian international, being capped twice. He's got a continental reputation, Giacomo Raspadori. Now, he's currently valued up to £82 million. His current ability is 3.5 star, potential ability 4.5 star. Finishing 15, composure 14, acceleration and pace both 15 as well. First touch 16, flair, off the ball all high as well. He hasn't really got a long shot in him, but I'm not worried about that. Now, he was at Sassuolo last season where he played 4 times, 1 goal. And like I say, £49.5 million we bring him in. Record transfer there. Cuts inside from both wings should I want to play him out wide. But like I say, he's going to be my out-and-out striker, and I'm expecting plenty of goals from him this season. So tactically then, this is how we'll line up. We're still going to play that 4-2-3-1 with Meslier in goal, Firpo, Llorente, Botman and Dallas at the back with Click and Phillips in the midfield. Harrison, Diarcieta and Rafinha out wide with Raspadori up front. Obviously, we've got Bamford there as well. Daniel James, Struck, Geltard, Bugger, Shackleton, Ayling, Cock. We've got plenty of players. You know, we haven't got a deep squad when we look at it. It's quite sparse now, but we haven't got too many competitions to play in, as we have the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup as well. So when we haven't got Europe, I haven't got to worry about it. I've had a bit of a blowout. We've spent some money. Hopefully we get into the top 7. Realistically, we want full Europa League football, but beggars can't be choosers, and I will take the Europa Conference League. Squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is very good, and managerial support's good. Calvin Phillips wants a new deal. I will sort that out before I go on holiday. And then when we look at it, I've got 9 players that now support us, 11 players that have no real opinion of us, but all of my team leaders support us. When we look at the expectation for us this season, then we're expecting an 11th place finish with 200 to 1 to win the league. And naturally, we've got no players in that Media Dream 11. What I will say though, is that Ralph Rangnick has left and we've now got Allegri. Is this another one where they give him a random name? We've got Allegri in charge at Manchester United, so it'll be interesting to see what he does this season. And then finally then we start off with games against Watford, which we won 1-0. Chelsea, Manchester City, Norwich and Blackburn. Blackburn promoted this season as well. So Chelsea and Manchester City, 2 big games for us. However, we've got off to win and worse. We've had a decent pre-season. Yes, you know, we haven't been up against the most competitive teams, but we have got 3 points on the board in the league and a clean sheet. So we're going to go for it this season. We're going to push for a top 7, realistically, a top 6 place. So yes, fingers crossed, touch wood, we spent the money. Hopefully it pays off. Right, so the season's over, and obviously I took a massive risk spending all that money, and it has paid off. As we got a 5th place finish, as you can see there, we actually beat Chelsea and Manchester United to those places as well. And as it stands, we're the only team getting a full Europa League place, with Chelsea and Manchester United both getting Europa Conference League places. Everton though, shout out to them in 3rd place, finishing on 74 points as well and getting Champions League football next season. But we were only 2 points away from Arsenal, who in fairness had an absolute shocking end to the season, losing 3 of their last 5 games. So having a look at it then, we played 38 games, 21 wins, 6 draws, 11 defeats is quite high, 65 goals scored but only 43 conceded, which isn't bad at all. 22 goal difference, 69 points on the board. Like I say, 1 point clear of Chelsea, 2 points behind Arsenal. So looking at the past positions, you can see there, you know, we were all over the place and we have just moved up into 5th place on the last game of the season. However, we were in those European places for the majority of the season. Competitions wise, we're runner up. I was just going to say, I see in the cup then. So in the Carabao Cup, we finished runner up. We're actually beaten on penalties by Liverpool. Let's have a look at it there. So Raspadori with a goal on 67. We were actually a goal down when Diego Jota scored on 10 minutes. But looking at the penalty misses then, who done it for us? So Davis missing his penalty. The young 23-year-old as well, who has literally only played 2 games this campaign. And one of those was a penalty miss. That is unfortunate for him. But yes, we lose out there, but getting to a final, that is good progress. We're knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by Manchester United. That doesn't surprise us. Where are we there? We lose 1-0. But like I say, it doesn't matter. We got the biggest result of all, Europa League football next season. So finances wise then, first of all, obviously we get £63 million to spend, but we're only getting 35% of transfer revenue being made available for any player sales. Wage budget wise though, 1.4 million, and we're currently spending just under 1.3. Overall balance though, I've ruined us. I really have there. As this season actually, we made a loss of £57 million. Overall balance is 22 million. At the same point last season, we were sat at plus £103 million. So yeah, we took a massive risk in the transfer window. And financially, it has crippled us a little bit. However, like I say, we have got that European football. I've got £63 million to play with. And now I've got a big decision to make, whether I spend any of that money or I just let it all go back into the club and try and balance the books. Having a look at the squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion and managerial support is both excellent, club atmosphere is good, Daniel James wants to leave and so does Robin Koch. Strook's wanting to go as well, as he wants to go to a bigger club in fairness to him. I've now got 18 players to support us, 3 players that have no real opinion of us, so no real problems there. As far as the social groups go, I've got a secondary and a core social, happy with that. We have got no outcasts. And then looking at the player stats then, so Raspadori got 19 goals for me this season, 15 in the Premier League, 4 in the Carabao Cup as well. So he done alright for us, you know, when you're spending 50 million, I'd have expected to do better. But that is his highest goal scorer and tally since he became a professional, so I will take that. You know, that's not a bad start to life in the Premier League for him. Highest average rating was struck with a 7.22. Most assists, Rafinha with 11. Best pass completion was Llorente with 97%. Most player of the match awards was Rafinha and Jack Harrison with 4 apiece. Most yellow cards, Phillips with 16. And most red cards was Click, Firpo and Creswell with 1 apiece. But what about the team stats then? So we scored 65 goals, which is the 5th best. We conceded 43, which is the 6th best. Yellow cards wise, we had 86, which is the 4th worst. 3 red cards, which is the 7th worst. And we had the 10th highest attendance again. So let's have a look at the squad wise then. So overall, goals wise, obviously Raspadori with 19, Rafinha with 14, Jack Harrison in there with 12 goals doing bits for us. Obviously he can play attacking left and right. And he's a very good player at 26-year-old, currently valued up to £21 million. What about assist-wise then? So Rafinha with 11, Arcietta with 5 goals and 7 assists, Raspadori with 7 assists as well. So we are creating who's the highest valued player at the club. Raspadori now at £70 million, Rafinha at 61 and Struck at 59 million. So there is an opportunity to sell. However, when we're only getting 30% of transfer revenue back, it makes no sense moving some of the big names on. So yes, what we're going to do then is I am going to look at bringing some players in. I need to add some depth to this squad now as we've got Europa League football. But again, financially, I need to try and balance the books and repair the damage that I'd done last season. Right then, so before the break, obviously the obvious choice was securing the club's financial future and not doing anything reckless. So what I did is I went and spent all the money basically and potentially plunged us into even deeper financial abyss. But I think we're just about going to get away with it. Transfer budget is 6.1 million and we still got that left. Wage budget, we're spending under that. We're about 80k under that. Overall balance, £11 million. Debt and loans wise hasn't really changed throughout the same. Obviously our transfer debt starting to come down, but overall, you know, financially I've spent the money. I had to add the depth. Maybe I didn't need to spend as much as I did, but it's all about progression. And I am pinning my hopes on the fact that we have a decent European campaign and that we get Europa League football as a bare minimum again next season. So let's have a look at the transfers. So the first player to leave us then was Charlie Creswell. Now he's one of our youth prospects. Played 4 games for us last season, 5 the season before. And he's gone off to Brighton for 5.25 million. £4 million add-ons potentially to take it up to 9.25 million. He's a decent player. Current ability 2.5 star, potential ability 4 star. Didn't play too much for us, so I just cashed in on him. Then Tyler Roberts went off to Burnley for 1.6 million. Now, I'd done myself dirty here as I let him go out on loan last season for 775k. And he had that mandatory buy clause of 1.6 million. He had a very good season for Burnley last season as well. 11 goals in 27 starts. So yes, Tyler Roberts, a bad bit of business for us there. And then a disappointing transfer was Robin Koch has gone off to West Ham again. West Ham are absolutely pillaging us. And he signed for them for 7.75 million. There are add-ons in there as well. It'll go up to 10.75. He only played 6 times for us last season, got a 6.97 rating. Obviously wasn't a regular starter. On the fringes, he could have been decent for us this season, but he did not want to stay with us. And you can see we sold him on for a good price. He's already valued up to £20 million for West Ham. So joining us then, the first player through the door is a 29-year-old Italian with 7 caps, Roberto Gagliardini. What a name that is, what a mouthful. He's been at Inter Milan for the best part of 7 seasons. They took him on for 18.25 million and we got him on for a free transfer after he only played 5 games for them last season. Now I've brought him in to play as a central midfielder. He's got a continental reputation and his media description is a tireless midfielder. Now, technically, he's not the best, but mentally and physically, he's incredible. The player trade store plays short, simple passes. That's what I want. He comes deep to collect the ball and arrives late into the opponent's area, where he has got long shots of 12, so he may do some damage there. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 3-star as well. And he's currently valued up to £41 million, which isn't bad for the free transfer. He certainly won't be valued at that. If I tried to sell him now, I'd probably get £15 million for him. However, it's still money in the bank. But let's not write him off. I've only just brought him through the door and I'm trying to sell him on already. Then when I started to spend the money, I brought in Kelechi Iheanacho from Leicester. 26-year-old now with 29 goals in 53 caps for Nigeria. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 3.5 star. This guy's got the pace and acceleration, 15 and 14 there. Finishing 17, composure 16, off the ball 16 as well. He likes to cut inside from the wing, which is potentially where he'll play, but I have brought him to play up front. He only played 1 time for Leicester last season where he scored 1 goal, but we took him on for 18.5 million, which I think is a decent deal. And then I went out and spent some serious money on Sergio Gomez. 22-year-old Spaniard. He's not fully capped yet, but he can play right down the left-hand side. Realistically, for me, he's going to play as a left-back, but he can play as an attacking left midfielder as well. Now, crossing and dribbling, 17 and 13. Obviously, these downward arrows make him look worse than what he is. He is a quality player, almost playing to his full potential, valued at up to £90 million, and I brought him in for £33.5 million from Anderlecht. After he played 19 times last season with 1 assist. Now, a real quality player, definitely going to strengthen the squad. And this is the guy that could potentially have financially crippled us this season. But for me, I think it's a sound investment. So tactically then I've changed it up a little bit. I've gone for the 4-2-3-1. We're now going to play a tiki-taka on an attacker mentality with Meslier in goal, Gomez, Struck, Botman and Elling at the back, with Gagliardini and Phillips in the middle, Harrison, Diarasieta and Rafinha out wide with Raspadori up front. My bench is quality again. Shackleton, Iniacho, Lorente, James, Banford, Dallas. Gelhart has had a very good pre-season as well, scoring 4 times in 6 games. So he's had a decent pre-season. Clicks on the bench, obviously. Leif Davis, who we promoted last season. Bogerson there as well. So a very good squad depth for what is going to be, obviously, hopefully, a long and prosperous European campaign. And when we look at that, we go in at the group stages of the Europa League. We've got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Obviously the Premier League. What is the expectation for us this season from the media? So the season preview then, we're expecting a 10th place finish, 200 to 1 to win the league. I think that was about similar to last season. I think it was 11th place finish last season. No players in the Media Dream 11, which doesn't surprise us. However, check this out. Vincent Kompany has been given the manager's job at Manchester City. He had an absolute shocker at Anderlecht, didn't he? But whatever he's doing, it's been enough for him to get the job at Manchester City. So look at his milestones then. He actually won the Belgium Cup with Anderlecht, and then he left and he's been given the job. But he has won the Community Shield already with Manchester City. So there you go, a new addition to the Premier League. So big stuff happening. When we look at the squad dynamics then, team cohesion, club atmosphere and managerial support is all very good. Daniel James wants to leave, but he's got no value, so I'm not selling him. So I've got 15 players of supporters, 9 players that have no real opinion of us. Social groups wise, I've now got a secondary social group as well. And there's a lot of players that have been with us quite a while that have dropped into there. Click, Struck, Botman, Firpo, Lorente and Burgos all dropping down a group. But like I say, hopefully plenty of games being played this season. They'll all fall back into core social group and they'll have total squad harmony. So finally then, looking at our start of the season, we have Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, Tottenham and Chelsea as our first 5 games. Some winnable games in here, and we need to start off strong. The last couple of seasons, obviously we faltered. When I took over in the first season, halfway through, we weren't in a decent position. So this time round, I would appreciate a very good start from the guys, and hopefully we get that. So yes, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward while trying to battle in the Premier League as well as the Europa League. Guys, what a season. We've had some absolute drama in the January transfer window. But first of all, let me explain how we've ended up in this position. So a 10th place finish in the league, bang on middle of the table, 55 points on the board. You know, we're a couple of points behind Watford in 7. We completely fell apart towards the second end of the season. We didn't have a great time at all. And it was caused by, I had to let 2 of my players go. I had some real contract disputes. Rafinha went in the January transfer window. He was going to leave on a free transfer if I didn't let him go. So he went off to Newcastle for £30 million. Now, if you've played the Leeds saves, I'm sure there's many different outcomes with Rafinha. You know, you may be able to get him nailed down on a contract early doors. For me, I think, you know, I didn't push it far enough. We didn't do enough trying to get into the Champions League, and it was inevitable that Rafinha was going to leave. So he has gone off to Newcastle United for £30 million. Easily a £70 million player, but there was a risk of me losing him for nothing. And that's the same for Pascal Struck as well. You know, a quality player, 24-year-old, really solid defender. And I let him go as well. But I got some decent money for him, £35 million. He's probably a £50 million player. And again, he had 6 months left on his contract. And I managed to get him sold on for £35 million to Monaco. So I would say 2 of my star players leaving us in January really hurt us. So by this point then I was really scrambling. So David Turnbull come in. I needed to strengthen behind the striker so that I could push other players out into Rafinha's position. So I've brought in David Turnbull, 24-year-old Scotsman with 27 caps, 9 goals. Very good technically, 16 first touch, long shots 14, passing 16, technique 16. Could drop into the midfield as well. Currently valued at £22 million. And I brought him in for 23.5. Now he played 8 games this season, 1 goal. And got an extremely poor 6.46 rating. And then I had to obviously strengthen at the centre of my defence as well. And I brought in Marish Kumbula. Heading, mark and tackling. Those defensive stats there. 17, 16 apiece on there. Strength 15 as well. 24-year-old Albanian with 28 caps. He's got a continental reputation. He's valued at £24 million. And I brought him in for 16.5. He played 14 games this season and got a 6.74 rating. Now ratings obviously can be skewed by the fact that we've done so poor in the league. But yeah, I spent some money trying to bring players in. Now looking at the competitions wise then, so we had that 10th place finish in the Premier League. However, we did finish runner-up in the Europa League. I cannot believe that, as we lost 2-0 to Chelsea in the final. I had 17 shots, 10 on target. We had 11 and 5. We were in the game, but unfortunately, you know, your striker gets a 6.2 Raspadori not doing bits for us there. So, yeah, we lose in the Europa League final, which I am happy with in fairness. I'm happy to get there. In the FA Cup, we were beaten 3-0 by Everton in the semi-final. Again, that's a decent run to get to the semi-final. But we win the Carabao Cup in extra time, 3-2 there. Daniel James with a goal in 110 minutes. They had Tom Davies sent off on 34, and we struggled, if I'm honest. They still managed to get 2 goals with 10 men. We had 19 shots, 8 on target. They had 17 and 8, but we get our first bit of silverware. But unfortunately, that silverware wasn't enough to keep the players with us. However, I've got £76 million to spend in this transfer window. 100% of transfer revenue is being made available. I've basically got 75k to spend on wages. Overall balance is £32 million. It's still not great. Debt and loans wise, it's really starting to reduce now. That net debt 9.4 million, transfer debt 12 million. So club vision wise, how are we doing at the moment? My job is secure, you can see just up at the top there. They're delighted that we're using players from the club's youth system and I'm signing players under the age of 23. They're disappointed that I'm not selling players for a profit though, which is understandable in fairness. Work within the wage budget we're on course with. Next season now they expect a mid-table finish and to reach the final of the Europa Conference League. So we're in the Europa Conference League then, and Dynamo Kiev have just won on penalties in that. That is a competition that I think we should be winning. How did we get into that? I'm assuming we get the Europa Conference League by winning the Carabao Cup. Very handy indeed. Or is it because Chelsea won the league, went into the Champions League, and we finished in the final against them of the Europa League? I don't know. Anyway, regardless, we've had a shite season. We finished in 10th place, and we still managed to get some kind of European football next season in a competition that I think we could win. So squad dynamics after that season. And team cohesion is excellent. Club atmosphere is average. And managerial support is very good. I've got players that want to leave and whatever. You know, I'll sort that out over the summer. Jamie Shackleton opposes us. I've got 13 players supporters, 9 players that have no real opinion of us. Why does Shackleton oppose us? Playing in a weaker role. When does your contract expire, pal? He's still got to 2027. We may look at moving him on. Who knows? What's he valued at? £41 million. If I can get £41 million for him, I'll certainly be moving him on. So then looking at the player stats, the top goal scorer this season was Iniacho with 24 goals. Highest average rating was Diarisieta with a 7.08. Most assists was Jack Harrison with 16. Best pass completion was Llorente with 96%. Llorente, another player for Twitters, he's leaving on a free transfer. He was a player that I couldn't get any money for. So as you can see, I have had an absolute shocker trying to hold on to my players. You know, and the only thing I could have done more, I could have extended the contracts a couple of seasons ago. But he's joining Sport, now 30-year-old. Iniacho got the most player of the match awards with a 6. Most yellow cards was Phillips and Gagliardini with 23. And most red cards was Gagliardini with 2. What about these team stats wise then? So team stats wise, we scored 64 goals, which is the 6th best. But we conceded 58, and there's the problem, which is the 6th worst. Yellow cards wise, 112 yellow cards. Dirty Leeds. 5 red cards, which is the 2nd worst. And 34,000 at Elland Road. So there we go. So we have got a lot to do this season. So, money to spend. Contracts to sign, that is the big thing. Let's get these contracts sorted out now. And let's try and win another bit of silverware in Season 4. Right then guys, so Season 4, could this be the season that we finally stop the rot? Now I am quietly confident. Obviously a mid-table finish last season, a 10th place finish. I'm expecting much better than that this season, and we've gone out and we've strengthened. However, financially I've not crippled the club this season, as I've still got £50 million in the transfer budget. Now you may look at that and go, just go out and spend it. You've got it, spend it. But I don't think that's the case, as I've risked it all in the last couple of seasons and I didn't want to do it again. Wage budget wise, I'm 30k under the allotted wage budget. Overall balance went out to £50 million, which is quite a strong place. Net debt is 0. Transfer debt is 9.3 million. So players leave, and then the first player out the door, I spoke about him before the break. Diego Llorente has gone off to Sporting. And another one of my older players who's been with us for quite a while, Matthias Klick, has gone off to Lask in Austria. So he went off on a free transfer. He played 28 times for us last season, but his time had come, you know. He'd had been a regular starter for us, but it was time to move him on at the grand old age of 34. Then Luke Ayling, another one of our older players, went off to Feyenoord, now 32-year-old. Played plenty against us last season, 21 games, but we sold him off for 2.6 million. And another one of the older guard, Patrick Bamford, now 30-year-old, has gone off to Fortuna Dusseldorf. Now, this guy's never been a regular scorer for us. Although he's played 2 games for Dusseldorf and scored a goal in that. Last season, he played 20 times for us, scored 4 goals. He's the same as Rodrigo, you know. He was never going to score as a bag full of goals. And we are playing attacking football, so I was expecting lots of goals from our front three, and he just wasn't one of those goal scorers. And £10 million for somebody that scored 9 goals in 2 seasons, I think that's a great deal for us. And then the biggest transfer out for us then was the sale of Roberto Gagliardini, now 30-year-old. We got him on a free transfer last season and we sold it for £23 million to Shakhtar. Quality deal for us. He played 29 times for us, 5 assists, 1 player of match performance. Very good player, playing in that central midfield. Like I said, mentally and physically incredible, but 30-year-old, got him on a free transfer, major profit. So first through the door then was a 27-year-old Englishman, Ryan Kent. Now he can play in all 3 positions behind the striker. He's not going to play directly behind. I'd rather have him out in those wide areas. His current ability is freestyle. He's playing to his full potential. Now valued at 17.5 million. His acceleration and pace 16 apiece. Dribbling 16, flair 18. He may have a little bit of that X factor. We brought him in from Real Sociedad where they took him from Tottenham for £12.5 million. He only played 6 times last season, but he'll get plenty more game time with us. I then went out and spent a little bit of money on Nuno Tavares. So this guy's a squad depth option who can play as a left and right wing back. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 4-star. Acceleration and pace 16 and 15. That crossing and dribbling 12 and 13. He's 24-year-old and we got him for £9.25 million from Arsenal. He was actually out on loan at West Ham last season. West Ham are basically taking absolutely anybody on and he played 13 times in the Championship. But again, like I say, a decent squad depth option for us. And another squad depth option, realistically, out on that right-hand side is Alvaro Adriazola. Now, he's 28-year-old. He's a Spaniard with 4 caps. And he played 18 times for Napoli last season, where they took him on for £6 million. £4.5 million for us. That is a snip, and he's currently valued at £7.5 million. Acceleration and pace, 15 and 16. Crossing, 14. Dribbling, 12. And even his defensive attributes, marking 12. Tackling, 13. He's going to be a solid player to have around the squad. Then I went and spent some big money on a 24-year-old Frenchman, Oumar Soleil, with quality defensive attributes, heading 15, marking 15, tackling 13, strength 13. That tackling worries me slightly, however, he's now valued at £35 million. He's got a continental reputation, and we bought him for £17 million from Salzburg, where he played 18 times with 2 goals last season. I've brought him in to be a starter, and he'll challenge Botman and Kumbulla for that place. And then finally coming in at the centre midfield is Niccolò Fagioli. Now he's a 23-year-old Italian, not fully capped yet, but we brought him in from Juve for £12.25 million, where he played 13 times last season, 24 the season before that. This guy though, really good player with first 16, technique 16, vision 16, passing 15 as well. Hopefully he'll be pulling the strings in the centre of the midfield. And then looking at it tactically then, we are still going to play with that 4-2-3-1 with Meslier in goal, Gomez, Botman, Soleil and Adriazola out wide with Phillips and Fagioli in the middle. Raspadori will move out onto that left-hand side with Diarcieta and Kent on the right-hand side and Iniacho up front. Now I've dropped the mentality off the positive as I want to try and just soak it up a bit more, be a bit more defensively solid as that's what's cost us last season. And then competitions-wise, obviously we've got the Premier League, the Europa Conference League, which I'm hoping that we'll win. But we're going in the League Path 4th qualifying round first leg against Famalicão. We then have the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup as well. But what is the expectation for us this season as far as the media goes? We're expecting a 10th place finish. We've got no players in the Media Dream 11, which is understandable. Teams being promoted though, Coventry making it into the Premier League with Burnley and West Ham. And what I will say is Burnley poached Anthony Martial off us. I tried to bring him in on a free transfer after he left Manchester United, and yet he would have preferred to go to Burnley, which is very worrying for me personally, as he would rather go to Burnley and play defensive football than be at Leeds where we go all out attack. Squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion is good with club atmosphere and managerial support being very good. Top influencers, does anybody oppose me now? No, I've got 9 players that have no real opinion and 16 players as supporters. And then looking at the squad overall, you can see we've got a decent depth now. We've got a mix of youth and older players. I think the oldest player at the club now is Dallas, is it? Let's have a look. So Stuart Dallas, 33-year-old, still a very good player for us though. But his contract expires at the end of the season, so this will probably be his last season with us. And then looking at the schedule, then we start off with games against Chelsea, Villa, West Ham, Brentford and Newcastle. If we can get a win against Chelsea, I fancy our chances against everybody else. So yes, the aim for this season realistically is European football once again. I would like to have the final season played in the Champions League. That may be a stretch, if I'm completely honest, but it'd be nice if he won the Europa Conference League, which surely we are the best team in it. So yes, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward to the end of season 4, where hopefully we've added some more silverware to the trophy cabinet. Well, would you look at that? Being more sensible with me money has ended up with a 3rd place finish. We've ended up finishing 1 point clear of Manchester United, 9 points behind Arsenal in 2nd. Liverpool, though, 26 points ahead of us, getting 100 points this season. Having a look at the league table in more detail, we played 38 games, won 22, drew 8, lost 8, 71 goals scored, 39 conceded. That is very good this season. Plus 32 goal difference, 74 points on the board. And we won 4 of our last 5 games. Looking at the past positions then, how did we do there? So a decent rise for us. It was the last game of the season. We went from 5th to 3rd place, actually getting Champions League football. What about Arsenal then? They sat in 2nd all the way through. And Liverpool in 1st place. Manchester City down in 11th there. They've had an absolute shocker as company being sacked. Yes, Didier Deschamps the manager there now. So competitions-wise then, the first thing I can see is that we won the Europa Conference League. We won 4-1 in the final against Rennes. What a result that is. 16 shots, 9 on target. 2 goals for Jack Harrison, 2 goals for Ryan Kent. I told you Kent would do bits for us this season. Scored 15 goals in all competitions. So we win the Europa Conference League. I would say that was expected though. But we have won the Carabao Cup again, on penalties against Manchester City. Zinchenko sent off on 8 minutes after Lautaro Martinez actually gave them the lead. Raspadori on 8 minutes, basically what must have been from the sending off. But then it goes to penalties, where they miss one, we score all of ours, and we win another bit of silverware. So that has been a decent season for us, as you can see there. Champions League football next season, a 3rd place finish. We win the Europa Conference League. We're knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Liverpool. We get done 2-0. And we win in the Carabao Cup. So a great season for us, considering the shambles that was last season. Look at the finances wise then, we've got £43 million in the overall balance. We've got £84 million to spend in this upcoming window. But there's part of me that wants to stick with these guys. These guys have done us proud. There's only Stuart Dallas who's like past it in my opinion now. 33 and I have extended his contract. He's got another season with us. We might as well have him till the very end. Wage budget wise, I've got just under 1.6 million and we're spending just over 1.5. Debt and loans wise then, we're looking fantastic there now. And then squad dynamics, team cohesion and managerial support is both excellent. Club atmosphere is average. I've got players that want to start more games and want better deals as well. Raspadori wants a new deal. Anybody opposed? There's no 20 player supporters. 4 players have no real opinion of us. And then when we look at it overall, so let's just quickly first of all have a look at the player stats before the team ones. So top goal scorer was Iniacho with 29 goals this season. That's not bad going. But only 11 in the league. So he scored 15 in 6 starts in the Europa Conference League. Wowzers. Then Giorgio Di Arrecieta had the highest average rating at 7.32. Most assists was Di Arrecieta with 21. Best pass completion was Solé with 97%. Player of the match award was Di Arrecieta. He's had a fantastic season with 6. Most yellow cards was Tavares and Adriozola with 12 apiece. Most red cards though, Geltard, Phillips, Botman, Adriozola and Solé with 1 apiece. That's poor from us there. But then when we look at these team stats, we scored 71 goals, which is the 4th best. Conceded 39, which is the 5th best. Yellow cards wise, 76, which is the 3rd worst. Red cards wise, 4th, which is the 3rd worst. And average attendance, 10th again. So there we go then, guys. That is an incredible season. After the shambles that was the last one, financially we seem to have repaired ourselves. And I've got a big decision to make in this final season as we have Champions League football. But do I stick with the team that got us there? Right then guys, so I had that decision to make over the summer about what we were going to do, what way we were going to go with it, and I've stuck with saving the finances of the club. We're still going to push on in Europe, you know, we have got Champions League football this season. I haven't really had the high turnover of the squad like I had that decision to make, and I didn't change the squad massively. When we look at the finances, we've currently got 75 million left in the transfer budget. Wage budget is 1.8 million, we're currently spending 1.6 million. Overall balance is now 91 million, extremely strong. You can see here that, you know, for a couple of seasons we were in the mud. Debt and loans now, net debt 0, transfer debt in the red, so I'm led to believe means that teams owe us money, so we're owed £9 million from other clubs, which is fantastic. So overall, 0 from ourselves in both of those areas. Transfers wise, and the first player out was Christopher Clayson. He has gone away to Stade Reims on a free transfer. He played 3 times for us last season after not playing a game all the way through his first 3 seasons. So yeah, he played 3 last season, conceded 5, but we've let him go on a free transfer. He didn't want to stay with us, wants to go and be a first choice keeper, but he's gone there to be the backup anyway. However, he has played 2 times for them already. Then Adriozola left for Benfica. We let him go for £14 million after we bought him for £4.5 million last season. He played 21 times, 0 goals but 4 assists, a 7.03 rating, solid, but a 29-year-old. When the offer come in, he was surplus to requirements. And the big transfer out for us this season is Di Arrecieta leaving to Sporting for £29 million after we spent £16.5 million and we got the best out of him, let's be honest. Last season he played 30 times, 4 goals, 9 assists, 6 player of the match performances, 7.18 rating and £29 million. That's a good amount of money to be recouped for somebody that is now 31. So coming in and the first player through the door is Sebastian Szymanski. This guy's a direct replacement for Diarisieta and he is quality. Very, very good player. Decent on the set pieces as well. Want him to play behind the striker, as you can see there. Dribbling 14, long shot 16, passing 13. But mentally, he is incredible. Now, he's currently valued up to £44 million, being capped 48 times for Poland already. And I brought him in for £12.5 million. That was his minimum release clause after he played at Dynamo Moscow for 6 seasons. And last season, he played 21 times with 5 goals, 7 assists, 4 player of the match performances. And what a rating that is, a 7.67 average rating. Then we brought in the 25-year-old Italian international with 15 caps, Andrea Cambiasso. Brought him in from Arsenal and he can play both left and right defensively. That's where I want him. Playing as a wing-back. Now, acceleration and pace, 15, 16. Crossing and dribbling, 13 apiece. Marking 9 would be my one concern there. Tackling 12. Very good player. We bought him for £17 million. Arsenal bought him for £27 million from Genoa. So they've made a £10 million loss. Played 19 times in the Premier League last season. A 6.87. But this guy's joining us for Champions League football. And then finally, I've brought in Jack Butland. Now, Jack Butland did have a stint at Leeds in 2013-14. Where he played 16 times in the Sky Bet Championship. We bought him for 775k, which is quite a lot of money considering Man City bought him a couple of seasons ago for 69k. Didn't play a game. He's probably never going to play a game for us. With Clayson leaving, bringing this guy in was just a no-brainer as a backup. So tactics-wise then, this is how we're going to line up. With Meslier in goal, we've got Tavares there, and also Sergio Gomez, Botman, Solé and Cambiasso at the back, with Phillips and Fagioli in the middle, Raspadori, Szymanski and Kent out wide with Iniacho up front. We're going to drop down to a cautious mentality now, as we're obviously going to be up against some fantastic teams in the Champions League. Hopefully it doesn't damage us too much. We're still going with the tiki-taka. Squad dynamics wise, team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is very good, and so is managerial support. Top influencers wise then, I've got 14 players as supporters, 9 players that have no real opinion of us. And when we look at the competitions this season, Premier League, Champions League, the big one as we enter at the group stages, FA Cup and the Carabao Cup as well. What is the expectation for us this season? So season preview wise then, we're expecting an 8th place finish. That is shocking. And we've got no players in the Media Dream 11. However, Simone Inzaghi is now the manager at Chelsea. No more new managers coming in there. What was the biggest transfer fee of the summer? Pedro Neto going from Wolves to Manchester United for £93 million. That's a lot of money. He's not that good neither. Acceleration and pace, 17 apiece. That dribbling actually is better, but he's definitely not nearly a £100 million player. Schedule-wise, then what we're starting off like this summer. Now, we've had a fantastic pre-season, but as you can see there, a 3-0 defeat to PSG may be an indicator of how we're going to fare against bigger teams this season. But we've got Leicester, Wolves, Chelsea, Watford and Sheffield United as our first 5 games. Some very winnable games in there. Chelsea, a difficult game again. We started off against them last season, but a real opportunity for us to hit the ground running. So what we're going to do is we are going to move forward to the end of Season 5, my final season, where it would be nice if we broke into the top 4 again and guaranteed Champions League football next season. Got out of the group stage in the Champions League, that would be incredible, and maybe get another cup win. Right, so this is it then guys, the season is over, Season 5 is down, and as you can see, we've ended on a high, 2nd place finish, Champions League football guaranteed again next season. We're never going to catch Liverpool. I reckon we could play another 10 seasons and not catch Liverpool as they are so dominant. They finished 18 points clear of us in top spot. You know, we played 38 games, won 23, drew 9, lost 6, scored 71 goals, conceded 39, plus 32 goal difference, 78 points on the board. 3 clear of Arsenal, 4 clear of Manchester United in 4th place. Liverpool only lost 2 games all season. He actually lost to Everton 1-0, but lost to us 3-0. Decent result for us there. Heavy defeat for them. Looking at the past positions, basically from a third of the way through the season, we were sat with inside the top 3 teams, which is fantastic news. Arsenal then, we're moving about a bit in Manchester United. So for us, it's never been a 2-horse race. I was going to say we were fighting for top spot. Obviously, that's not the case, but in and amongst those Champions League places, more or less all season. Competitions-wise then, I can see a cup win straight away. We've actually won 2-1 against Lazio in the Europa League final. Immobile missing a penalty on 42. Raspadori gave us the lead on 34 before Diaby on 55. Turnbull with a penalty on 8 minutes. They only had 1 shot on target and scored the goal through Diaby. Not ideal that, but it doesn't matter. We got the win anyway. 18 shots, 8 on target. And after heartbreak a couple of seasons ago when we lost out to Chelsea in the final, we lift the cup this time round. We lost the FA Cup semi-final, we were beaten by Chelsea in the semi-final, and then we were knocked out by Chelsea in the Carabao Cup as well, so not ideal there. We had a difficult group, I would say, in the Champions League with Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Genk. Obviously, Genk were the whipping boys of the group as we managed to pull 7 points off. But yeah, that league performance is obviously the thing to celebrate. So finances wise, how we're looking then, so we've got £148 million in the overall balance. Champions League football, like it says, it's an absolute machine when it comes to generating finances. Transfer budget, we've got 75 million to play with next season if we were to stay in the job. 100% of transfer revenue is being made available, and the wage budget's 1.8 million. We're currently 90k under that. Debt and loans wise then, fantastic, not a problem there. What about squad dynamics and how am I leaving the squad? So team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is average, and managerial support is very good. Top influencers wise, nobody opposes us, 20 player supporters and 3 players have no real opinion. I'm sure when I took over this squad there was only 1 player that supported us, and I think that was Dallas, if I'm honest, and I lost him in the summer transfer window. So looking at the player stats then, Raspadori scored 27 goals this season. How many in the league? 14 in the league, but 27 in all competitions. Tavares had the highest average rating at 7.14. Most assists with Semensky, that doesn't surprise me, with 14 assists. Best pass completion was Botman, 97%. Most player of the match awards was Raspadori with 9. Most yellow cards, Shackleton and Tavares with 14 apiece. And most red cards, Botman, Kambula and Solé with 1 red card. Team stats wise, only scored 71 goals, which is the second best, and conceded 39, which is the third best. So we deserve to be up there in the top 2. Yellow cards wise, 66, which is 8th worst, and 2 red cards, which is the 6th worst. We still got the 10th highest average attendance. But looking at the squad then, how did everyone else compare for goals? So Raspadori had 27, Iniacho with 22, Turnbull got 11 this season, even Dan James chipping in with 9. What about assists? Szymanski with 14, Harrison with 12, and Fagioli with 9. So plenty of assists around there as well. Who is my highest transfer valued player at the minute? Then Raspadori, £93 million. Some big money there. But I do believe he was our biggest transfer anyway, which we'll have a look at now. So history-wise, milestones first of all. I was hired as the Leeds manager in 2022. We won the Carabao Cup 2 years in. And then the 2025 season was decent as we won the Carabao Cup again and lifted the Europa Conference League trophy. And then we've just won the Europa League trophy. So absolutely fantastic as far as trophies goes. Looking at my history then, I brought in 16 players for a total of 275 million. We sold 50 players for a total of 198 million. Like I said, the highest fee spent was 49.5 million for Raspadori. And the highest fee received was Struck, £35 million. And that was literally a scramble to get that in. So in total, I made a £78 million loss there. But overall, a very good rebuild. But I think we should really end on looking at Marcelo Bielsa. Come on, get yourself there. Let's have a look. So he's currently unemployed. He's a director of football now. Let's have a look at his history. So looking at it then, after he left us, he was hired as the manager of Tottenham, where he went on to lift the Europa Conference League in 2022. He was sacked in 2023, and that's been it. He's been unemployed since. Would we be able to offer him a job, approach to sign? He's not interested. Can you imagine if we'd been able to bring him back in as the director of football? So yeah, Bielsa going off to Tottenham, doing bits, not too much though, and now he's unemployed. So yes, that is it then, guys. Quality rebuild, that one. We managed to save the club from relegation the first season, even though, you know, it would have been an absolute travesty if they'd gone down. And we've just continued to get better season after season. So yes, if you are new to the channel, like I say, and you've watched all this way through, please like and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, and it means an absolute world to me to see the channel grow. But I hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.